Hello everyone and welcome back to Tide Clan. And my gosh, you guys seem to really like Tide Clan. I got so many comments, so many likes, and you guys were just so engaged in these cats. Which I'm so happy about. And thank you for all the compliments on my art. It was very nice of all of you. And it really gave me motivation and a lot of happiness. So thank you to everyone who commented and just in general appreciated the video. I am very happy for that. But yes, here we are with year 2. So this is our leader. He's Tidestar is still the leader, of course. And at the start of the year, he actually ordered Shellburst out of camp without Gors Claw, her apprentice. And she was very frustrated. Or no, he was very frustrated actually with how Shellburst was avoiding him constantly. And he kind of regrets making her mentor at her age, which is fair. And you guys, I didn't pick the mentor. I let the game pick that, so he was the one who picked the mentor, technically. Anywho, he does give Gors Claw a secret assessment, much like he did to Shellburst when she was an apprentice. But Gors Claw actually does not realize that it is a secret assessment. She does, however, pass, so good for her. You guys will see her warrior name later on when we get to her. And my gosh, when we get to her, you guys are gonna... she has drama, that's for sure. So, gosh, I lost all my words all of a sudden. Nightclaw, Tidestar's deputy, there we go, did actually retire. I will spoil that much. And he is sad to see her retire. But he does have his mind on a certain cat who did actually become deputy. Again, he's the one who actually chooses the deputy. I have nothing to do with it. But they don't really have any relationship, so that was kind of interesting. Anywho, autumn comes around and he lets out a big sigh because he is confirmed to have green cough, and he imagines last year when he lost a life to white cough after being sick for like moons upon moons from it. And green cough is even worse for those of you guys who haven't read Warriors. So yeah, he's having a little bit of trouble with that. Although this one does go away fairly quickly, so he is relieved to find that. He is also studying eagles on the beach, apparently, which is leading to a lot of new hunting techniques. I mean, it is a new clan, so you know, they're learning. Very cool. Anywho, winter comes around and Tidestar confidently goes to investigate a strong present under some sand, and he is confident that it is a two-leg trap. I will say they've seen a lot of two-leg traps this year, and some events have been less fun, so be excited for that when we get to them. He does manage to go around it and fish out the food from the other side, however, so he's really proud to bring back a delicious two-leg morsel without being caught. Okay, so Nightclaw. As mentioned before, she does actually retire, but before she retires, she does heal from her mangled tail and earns a scar in return. I didn't draw it here, and I don't remember if that's because you can't see it in this position, or if I simply just forgot. Unsure. Anywho, she is thankful for not losing her tail and resumes her duties happily. However, she does note that she's getting older, and it's been nice to spend some time with Sandpool lately. She feels unappreciated and determined not to retire. However, Sandpool does get sick, and she was actually poisoned. We will get to that later, don't you guys worry, there's lots of drama this year. So she was actually poisoned, and Nightclaw just felt really bad and actually retires and steps down as deputy just because she wants to relax and hang out with Sandpool before she possibly passes. and Sandpool seems really grateful for this. With no more duties, however, Nightclaw does accept Eaglewing's constant pestering of becoming mates. She does like him in-game, so, you know, even if it wasn't exactly in the same way, but she did accept, so that's her choice. I don't think I would want to be with Eaglewing, but, you know, to each their own. Nightclaw also feels restless as an elder, and is often found going out on hunts or solo patrols, which, admittedly, Eaglewing does not like whatsoever. He's a little bit too controlling for my like. She does track out a fox and finds its hidden stash of fish, however, and she patiently waits until it leaves and then returns to camp with all the fish. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And at one point she also finds an adder in camp, buried for leaf bear. She does fish it out and kills it before it hurts anyone, as well as she gets more food. But on to our deputy. So, Floodheart is actually the new deputy of TideClan. Yep, so he's very happy about that. He is, however, struggling with his relationship with Gors Claw, his adoptive kitten. She yells at him that he's been condescending all day long in the middle of camp. And Mistpaw, of course, takes their adoptive father's side. So Gors Claw is being very, very loud and very honest about not caring too much about her adoptive dad, which really hits him hard. He does gracefully accept the position as deputy after honoring Nightclaw's retirement properly. And he also, of course, makes sure that she gets her favorite prey every day. He is, after all, the prey pile guy. The clan does seem happy with him as deputy, and he's honored to serve them. So all in all, he's doing really good as deputy. However, Floodheart is devastated, and his entire world kind of turned upside down when something happens to Mistpaw, now a warrior, but I will reveal his name later. And he does actually blame himself for this, and we'll get to that when we get to Mistpaw. In winter, he does end up taking his frustrations out on Featherbreeze, claiming that he never cared or loved for the two kittens. They argue for moons, and the clan is getting sick of the yelling in the medicine cat den. He ends up hating Featherbreeze for how he's treated his kittens. And you guys, in-game, I was just playing along, and then I looked at the relationships, and it was like in the red. Like, I didn't do anything. He just really, really hated Featherbreeze all of a sudden. And under the time he is lost, Mistpaw... under the time Mistpaw is lost, he is still reliable, and when he finally isn't lost anymore, he does start to become passionate about prey again. So that's really good, and he makes sure that no area is overhunted as deputy, which is really appreciated. So Featherbreeze. Featherbreeze is actually doing a lot better this year, and he does feel a lot, very underpawed. He is very young, and he kind of wants an apprentice, actually. Although he is older now. It feels weird, but he's actually quite a lot older now. So he does actually get an omen from StarClan. He finds a rotten piece of prey at the bottom of a gorge with bones surrounding it. He does immediately run back and tell both Tidestar and Nightclaw at the time, but they don't know what to do with it, and he ends up just not really thinking about it. We will get to this omen later. And he is actually proud to be able to help his clanmates, so that's really, really nice. He seems to be doing a lot better as Medicine Cat this year. However, with the colder seasons on the way, Featherbreeze is nervous, and rightly so, when Tidestar becomes sick with green cough. He really appreciates Shellburst's help when gathering herbs. She does help him out whenever she has time, and the two have actually become quite good friends. He's also shocked to hear a loner crying out on the cliffs above him. Shellburst skillfully climbs up the cliff. It's a loner giving birth, so those two are actually out together and find a loner. They take her and the three kittens back to camp, and this time Tidestar is actually more understanding. Despite himself being sick, he happily invites the nursing queen to stay, much to the surprise of Featherbreeze. Featherbreeze is also shocked when Whitefoot actually confesses to him. He's never seen her that way, and he guiltily rejects her, saying that he's not willing to break his oath again. And in reality, he's just not really in love with her, unfortunately. Featherbreeze does feel a bit overwhelmed, but laughs whenever one of the kittens, specifically a kitten named Lake Kit, drops shells in the medicine den and is impressed with the drawings the little kitten creates. Lake Kit seems to be very creative, so he kind of just runs in and builds little towers and stuff in the medicine den, which Featherbreeze absolutely loves. Okay, on to Eaglewing. He's paranoid about rogues on their borders, and he wants to strengthen the camp walls, but he gets a thorn stuck in his paw. So, you know, unlucky Eaglewing. Happens to everyone. He does, however, confess his feelings to Nightclaw, of course, and took it very, very poorly when she then rejected him, and he has been cross ever since with her. And he keeps being pushy, asking the she-cat over and over again to be mates, which is not good, you guys. Don't do that. Respect the no. And he does even try to guilt her into believing that they don't have much time left due to their age, and telling her to retire so that they can have more time together. He's just in general being a manipulative little stinky cat. So, yeah, I don't understand why Nightclaw then eventually accepts his offer to become mates, and yet it still feels to him like she's just looking towards Tidestar, especially now that Tidestar is sick. He claws the ground beneath him, apparently, in-game, which I was a little bit shocked by. So, soon after, he's on a patrol with Splash Dusk, and they actually see a grey fox, and without thinking, Eaglewing corners it. He chases it further and ends up getting a torn pelt, and he made sure to tell everyone how Splash Dusk did nothing to help, even though he was the reckless one. And he took a chance that was completely pointless. And, you know, then he blames it all on Splash Dusk. And we will get to our little boy later to see how he's doing this year. However, in winter, Eaglewing spends most of his time grooming a Nightclaw. He tries to make her relax and enjoy their time together, but is disappointed when she goes out to hunt yet again. Not quite the relationship he wanted. I don't know why he keeps chasing after her and being so pushy. He should learn to take a no. That's what I'm gonna say. So, here we are with two cats, actually. So, the first one is Aspen Rip. You guys obviously know him. And the second one is the mysterious queen that we actually found. She is called Tempest Fur now, and she is lovely. Anywho, let us start with Aspen Rip to see how his year has been going. He shows Badger around the camp, so, and then he gets a star. What? A star? He gets his paw stuck in a two-leg trap. Badger then runs for help, and eventually they get him out. I'm unsure if you guys actually know who Badger is. I don't think you do. Badger is another loner who actually joined this year, so we'll get to him soon enough. He was passed out by the time everyone arrived, and his leg was unfortunately mangled. He does find himself disappointed when his leg has trouble healing, and as he wants to be out and helping his clanmates. He's actually gotten a lot better about helping around camp, so I'm very impressed with him. His leg does finally heal, and with newfound freedom he tracks down a grey fox and has a scuffle over a fish, proudly returning with a few scraps. Anywho, he is happy to find himself in easy conversation with the newly joined Tempest. He quite likes her and all her rambunctious kits. And here we get to a little bit of a headcanon of mine. I totally ship these two. However, the game does not. They don't have any romantic like whatsoever, and I am so sad, but I'm gonna keep shipping these two until it happens. Anywho, he works hard to defend his territory from rogues, and he's grown a lot after Tempest joins. Like, even more so. He helped Badger, because he's, you know, also a former rogue, and he just seemed to really click with the loners and rogues joining. Not that he's like, I think he just relates to them more and finds that he can understand and grow and see why it's good to help everyone and not just be out for yourself. Anywho, Aspen Rip is sick with green cough in autumn, and when Lakehead went missing, he was still sick, obviously. So everyone started looking for him, and when Aspen Rip heard barking in the distance, he had a bad feeling. He does find Lakehead stuck on a cliff, and he skillfully climbs up and carries the kitten to the forest above. So very, very cool. Sick with white cough and carries an entire kitten, who's, I mean, a couple moons old at this point, up a cliff. Impressed. I am impressed. And in Leaf Bear, he does get a burst of ambition as possibilities grow through his mind. What if one of Tempest Fur's kittens become his apprentice? He would have had a chance to be deputy. And Tidestar was getting older, and Floodheart was talking about his retirement already. He shakes his pelt, however, but the prickling feeling remains. Now, on to Tempest Fur. She gratefully... she is grateful for the hospitality that the clan has shown her, and is happy to join once offered by Aspen Rip, who did ask Tidestar first. She has her paws full with her kittens, and she doesn't notice when her kitten Lakehead, of course, goes missing. But when Aspen Rip brings back her kitten unharmed and pelt fluffed up in excitement, she accidentally gives him a little lick on the cheek, and thanking him for moons. In Leaf Bear, she does recover from having her litter, and she requests to join the clan, and Aspen Rip is assigned to teach her the ways of a warrior. He reminds her of her old life as a loner, and the two have a great time together. She eventually earns the name Tempest Fur. So, here we have another new face. This is Webb, who was also found on a border, and he was actually just sitting there waiting to join. Tidestar does accept this and lets Eaglewing show him around. He does eavesdrop on Aspen Rip gossiping about Tidestar's leadership. I don't know what the gossips were, but apparently he's listening in on it. And after a couple of moons and advice from Tidestar, Webb has been accepted into the clan and earns his name Webnest. Although he doesn't quite fit in, he hasn't done anything. I'm a bit scared, actually. He's done absolutely nothing so far. He does hesitate to eat some prey out on a patrol, but catches himself and proudly carries back the food for the former deputy Nightclaw, who is now an elder. He does spend a lot of time on his own, and does basically the mere... as little as he can. And he never really seems too interested in clan life. He really isn't putting that much effort in, so I'm curious to see where he goes. Okay, so here we have another pairing, and you guys might be surprised to see these two as a pairing right now. They are not mates in-game, I just want to say. However, I did want to draw them together, because they had a lot to do with each other this year. So let's start with the oldest, which is Splash Dusk. So after moons upon moons of sulking, he is frustrated to hear Whitefoot leaving the medicine den. He rages up a storm that has been brewing and ends up completely chewed out by Nightclaw. He does drag himself out of the medicine den, despite Featherbreed's protests, and he starts sleeping in a small nook under the cliff, alone, glaring out into camp. As well as judging Mistpaw's stalking techniques. So he starts the year by doing absolutely horribly. He's completely isolated, rarely ever goes out, and only for small morsels at night. He refuses to eat anything the others give him. And Splash Dusk is feeling better after getting some comfort from a certain cat, which, you know, might be Whitefoot. But we'll get more to that when she is, when we talk about her. However, it did actually help quite a lot. He finds himself looking forward to the morning again. His back seems to be getting better, and Whitefoot is talking to him again, as friends. And he's totally cool with that. He's surprised to find his romantic love for her gone. He's missed her, and he just kind of wants her back as her friend, or his friend. And honestly, he feels a little bit silly for how obsessive he was, and understands that he was clearly in the wrong there. He's shocked when he gets very ill from a rabbit after finally getting his appetite back. He withers in pain from the poison, but notices that his back, against all odds, is feeling better. He was awake to hear the cursing coming from Shellburst's nest. Sandpool was also poisoned, and so was Shellburst. He calls her over, feeling stronger than ever, and told her sternly to leave him and Whitefoot alone. And we'll get to why he feels like Whitefoot is involved in this. So the fury in her eyes made his pelt bristle along his back, but he does leave it, and a little bit uncertain with the anger coming from the tiny cat, well, the young cat. Autumn rolls around, and when Eaglewing tries to make him look bad after running into a fox, Splash Dusk actually realizes that it doesn't bother him as much as it used to. He and Whitefoot laugh about it, and he's happy to be talking to her again. Like, really happy. Emotions do still linger every now and then, but he's trying to make up for his bad decisions. Splash Dusk does also escort Featherbreeze around the medicine and the medicine cat confesses that Whitefoot loves him, but he's rejected her. The two talk about it for a while, and Splash Dusk realizes that he is still in love with her, but it feels much softer and warmer now instead of anger and jealousy. So, on to Whitefoot. She is feeling restless in the medicine cat den at the start of the year, hoping that her broken bone will heal a little bit quicker. She wants to be out to go on a dawn patrol, funnily enough, and feels slightly jealous when Gors Claw wakes the whole clan with her complaints at dawn about going on said dawn patrol. Whitefoot has also heard rumors of a spirit-seeing cat. She tries to look for them and wondering if maybe they understand how she feels. And maybe this rumored cat might even be one of her long-lost parents? She doesn't know who her parents is, or where this ghost side ability has come from, but maybe one day she'll figure it out. And she was, of course, the one who comforted Splash Dusk, so while Whitefoot actually waits for Splash Dusk's nightly routine with getting a morsel to eat, and he comes out. As he comes out, she jumps in front of him. She says nothing, and he starts chewing her out, but she's determined. And just stands there, looking at him. Kind of weirdly. In the end, he does actually break down, and she gives her friend a last chance for the better. To change for the better. Staying with him all night, and they watch the sunrise above them. And after this, he does get better. So she is very, very happy that her childhood friend does actually have a brain. No, but he's actually learning, and she's really, really appreciative of all the effort he's making here. While sick with white cough, however, she does try to confess her feelings to Featherbreeze, and is sad when he rejects her. He claims it's because of his duties to the clan, but a couple moons later she asks if that was really true, and he admits not seeing her that way. It hits hard, but seeing Splash Dusk come in to talk to her while she's sick actually warms her fur, and she really appreciates the cat. She is feeling restless again with her white cough and volunteers to stand guard. On a patrol with Splash Dusk, she does decide to confide in the Tom about her ghost sight. It feels like she's been carrying a curse by StarClan, and he tries to cheer her up and promises to keep her secret. Whitefoot can't help but let out a soft purr at his newfound compassion. So these two are doing a lot better, both with respecting each other and just in general bettering themselves as cats. So I'm really proud of them. Shellburst. You are quite the interesting little bloodthirsty cat. So, she was doing well with her apprentice after telling Tidestar off, and the two actually got along really well. And her apprentice was a Gors Claw. A Gors Claw? No, Gors Paw. By the way. She does love eating birds after empathizing with ocean creatures last year, and doesn't really hunt any water creatures anymore, actually. She loved that octopus so much she just hunts in the forest instead. Anyways, this also means that she does constantly have feathers in her face, and Gorspaw is very good at reminding her of this. Greenleaf does come around, and Shellburst is proud to have Gorspaw earn her warrior name at such an early age. But she narrows her eyes, glaring at Tidestar through the entire ceremony. She hears a yowling cat begging for their housefolk to come back, and Shellburst is surprised to recognize the voice and is soon met with the run-over body of the plump kitty pet that she was visiting last year. And she feels really, really guilty, if you guys remember the little kitty pet, because he said that he would come back and she didn't believe him, but he did come back, and apparently his two legs left him and she wasn't there to protect him. So she feels really, really guilty about that. That was very sad. And in Leaf Fall, on a patrol, she does notice the scent of some rogues that have crossed the border. They all go searching and eventually find a rogue who's about an apprentice age. She can't bring herself to harm them, but she does scold the little young cat so much that they are left crying by the time they get to the border. So she's very tough, has a little bit of bad feelings about herself, but she does actually try to really show everyone that, well, show herself at least, that she can be a good cat and she's working hard to help her clan. So I am impressed with her, despite how much she seems to not like herself, unfortunately. And here is Badgertooth. You guys might like him. So, he was rescued from a dog in the forest above the beach cliffs. While Eaglewing and Aspen Rip distract the dog, Mistpaw and Floodheart actually rescue him. So in camp, he is asked to join, and he does ask to join, and Tidestar accepts, having Aspen Rip, because he's a former rogue, teach Badger the basics of being a clan cat. He does eventually earn the name Badgertooth, and he convinces both Tidestar and Inglewing to turn back, although they doubt him. But Tidestar gives him a chance. And soon after that, a huge storm rolls in over camp. And, well, they are very appreciative of Badgertooth's kind of senses to just tell when a storm is coming. And that actually becomes kind of his character. So he does overhear rumors of distress and of disasters and stresses about it all night. He can barely sleep. So the poor guy is a little bit anxious, which might also be why he's so good at telling when storms are coming, so he can hide from them. Which is a good choice, by the way. Stay indoors when storms are out. They can be quite dangerous. So in the end, he does confide in Aspen Rip, who is a friend, and finds that it was all a misunderstanding. Now he feels awfully guilty for worrying so much, which Aspen Rip also found a little bit silly. He did get lost on a pier trying to bring cotton candy back to the clan, but I mean, it literally disappeared in his mouth as he carried it. So also, just as a heads up, don't feed your cats cotton candy or any human food. Well, most human foods. Apparently they can eat strawberries, but look it up before you try to give your cat strawberries as well. But there are some foods that are actually really good for cats. Just be sure to put a moderate amount, not too much. They are tiny little creatures after all. And be sure to really triple check that they can actually eat that. A lot of fruits and stuff they can eat, but not with seeds. Seeds are usually really bad for them. So, you know, you can try giving your cats some new food, but really make sure that they can actually eat it. And check the website you are obviously looking at it with, because sometimes they can be a little bit silly and not really tell the truth. Anywho, when Leaf Bear comes around, he does try to, well, he's been trying all year to avoid predators, especially foxes, which he somehow keeps running into. And when Splash Dusk then confidently tells him that they're going to track a fox, Splash Dusk being a very young warrior, he lets out a astonished gasp, which I found so adorable. This is the first time Badgertooth has ever seen a wild fox, and his fears are confirmed. Thankfully, nothing happens, and Splash Dusk tells them to just back off. Oh my gosh. This little apprentice, now warrior. She's very impatient to earn her warrior name, and Gors Claw's eyes become very intense as she stares up at the leader. She does become a warrior at 12 months old, earning her name Gors Claw. And she does celebrate her new name, intensively licking blood off her claws as she glares towards Splash Dusk's cave. She hates the way he treats Whitefoot and is afraid she's developing a small crush on the she-cat. So yeah, Gors Claw actually became a warrior and instantly had a crush on Whitefoot. Somehow. I don't know how. And she does actually really hate Splash Dusk because of it. So, Gors Claw willingly brings a sick rabbit into camp. She does place it outside Splash Dusk's nest, and she's surprised to find it when she finds later that half of it is actually gone. She, Splash Dusk, and Sandpool are all poisoned, which is what Feather Breeze's Omen was trying to warn him about. She was the poison at the bottom of the gorge. So that was quite the event. Especially because I didn't even choose who became poisoned. I literally just made her hunt it for drama. The sick rabbit for drama. And herself and Splash Dusk, of all cats, became poisoned. As well as the Sandpool, which is really sad. Anyway, she is frustrated and embarrassed about her own poisoning. But she tends to keep quiet. In agony from poisoning, the poison, she does stick her nose in a pile of catmint to feel better, only to be stung in the nose by a bee, leading to a swollen face. And I can't help but feel that might have been a little bit of karma. So she finds a weird present under some sand, but remembers her poison last year. Last season, and she decides not to investigate. No more risking these random pieces of prey. But yeah, she tried to kill both, Splash Dusk. She tried to kill Splash Dusk, and I am afraid. I'm afraid of what she might do in the future, not gonna lie. She does scare me a little bit. And she's also has zero relationship with her adoptive father, Floodheart, now. Which is also a little bit scary, not gonna lie. So, Mistpaw. He's really proud of his training and wants to be just like Floodheart when he grows up, which is absolutely adorable. He was always sure that he'd earn his name after his sister, and was actually pleasantly surprised when they earned it at the same time. So at 12 moons old, he is called Miststream, which was kind of a nick towards his father, Floodheart. And he is overjoyed about being named after his adoptive father, so that's really cute. He does celebrate by listening to Sandpool's stories, and it is absolutely adorable. So he is coming out when... coming out? He is out hunting with Floodheart, and the two work very well together. However, he does get caught in a two-leg trap hidden in the sand. I'm telling you, there were so many two-leg traps out this year. Floodheart stays with him all night trying to get him out, and in the morning, unfortunately, the two-leg comes to take him away. The two-legs who caught him seem nice, and they give him food, but he misses his clan, of course. He's taken to a weird-smelling area where there are a bunch of sick cats. Some two-legs grab him, and he soon finds himself back with the ones who caught him. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't know how he got there. After a couple days, however, they do release him, but he can't find home. And for you guys who are unfamiliar with this process, this is actually, well, I was trying to mimic TNR, which is a trap, neuter, and release, which is a way where people actually trap wildcats, neuter them so they don't get new kittens, which is the big problem. However, then they actually release them without, disturbing the cat too much. So an awesome thing for us here in real life, so that there aren't so many street cats, both for the wildlife and for their own sake, as street cats really don't have it well. So very, very cool. If you're interested, you can look up TNR and see some cool things about that. Anywho, he does, during Leaf Bear, Featherbreeze actually gets a sign in the tide pools, and he finds that Miststream has found his way back. However, he is with StarClan now, and his physical body is forever lost. And in StarClan, Mistbreeze often watches his father, Floodheart, sitting by his grave, sad that his adoptive father didn't even get to find him. So, kittens! Many, many kittens! They are all also almost apprentice age. However, unfortunately, they are not quite apprentice age yet, so you guys won't see their mentors until next year, unfortunately. So, Lake Kit actually spends most of his time making his, in his nest, making art with shells and water, which is absolutely adorable. I love it. He's a little artist. Anywho, with his apprentice ceremony approaching, he does find himself wishing that his mentor would be kind and maybe a good friend. Supposedly, he does want Aspen Rib, maybe Webnest, or the slightly unnerving Whitefoot. He wants someone who can at least be very calm and kind of fuel his own creativity a bit more. Rather than, say, Eaglewing, who is crazy. The next kitten is Sandkit, who just basically follows Echo Kid around. They get into a lot of trouble together, and he basically just respects her too much to do anything. Sandkit is confident walking around camp, but he's not afraid of the dark or the predators outside of the camp. He's almost an apprentice, and when he does become one, he wants to be the absolute strongest warrior to ever exist. And Echo Kit, by far the loudest of her her two siblings, always tries to be heard. She was hissed at by Nightclaw for making too much noise, which I find really funny. Sandkit does follow her around constantly, and they unfortunately don't interact too much with Lakekit. They kind of have their own game going on, but he doesn't seem to mind too much. She does dream of one day being a leader when everyone has to do what she says. She wants power in the clan and notices that despite Featherbreeze not being liked by Tidestar, he does still have a lot of power. Okay, you guys, here it comes. So this is both Rat and Sandpool. We will take Rat first, and she unfortunately didn't even make it past spring. She feels incredibly hopeless due to her broken back and getting an infection. It stank, like a lot, and she's been sleeping more lately. She is frustrated by Featherbreeze's hopefulness, however, which is really sad once again. Sandpool wakes her up to find her cold one morning. However, the Elder did actually make her believe in StarClan after all the stories that she's heard from Sandpool, so she's now happy and free in her afterlife and young and... Oh, she's doing well now in StarClan, which is at least a good ending. And Sandpool worries for Featherbreeze as Rat is frustrated with him. She puts no blame on the dying she-cat, of course, but she does want Featherbreeze to feel better. So, as you guys know, she is poisoned, and that hits extra hard because Rat actually died. And Sandpool feels very grateful when Nightclaw joins her in the Elder's Den. She knows it's her last couple days, so the Elder being there with her, well, her old friend being there with her, she's really appreciative. She is tired from the poison, and eventually she does fall asleep and unfortunately doesn't wake up. So you guys, that was TideClan. That was a lot. And a couple deaths this year, unfortunately. We had 3 of them. 2 sort of expected, and unfortunately 1 that was really, really young. But I do hope you guys actually enjoyed this and all the drawings we had. Because I sure enjoyed it. It's a lot of work, so, you know, it might not be very consistent. Honestly, there might not even be a year 3. But I do hope that I have the energy so I can really share these stories with you, because I love it. And I love, love, love how happy and excited all of you are about TideClan here with our drawings. So, with that being said, I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!